Welcome to the New Recommender, hosted by me, Ioan Morris.
And me, Geoff Roberts.
We are back. We're back, and the name we're hoping is going to be okay to use.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Yeah, because as far as we're concerned, this is an official continuation of our previous podcast, The Recommender. And yeah, it's still weird to say previous podcast, but it's been almost 2 months since our last episode. Final episode, I suppose you'd say. So it probably is an accurate statement at this point. We're both fine.
Absolutely fine.
We didn't mean to cause any concern. It was really just that we didn't know what we could say on the matter, and we were advised not to say anything.
That's it. So I'm sure you all have read the Press Association piece that came out last week. It was an overview of what's happening across the podcast industry. And in that article, they did mention Starum Audio, the company that produced the Recommender, and plenty of you have put the pieces together already about why the podcast disappeared.
Yeah, and since it's now in the public domain, we thought it's probably the right time to say something, or say what we can at least, about our experience. The long and short of it is Starum Audio has gone under.
Yeah, we'd heard the whispers, hadn't we?
Yeah.
It'd been going around the corridors for a while, but nothing was official. And so we went in, when was it? April time.
We went down to the studio to record and it was closed, basically. It was, the shutters were down, and that's how we found out. I actually had some belongings I'd left in there. I had a jacket there that I really like. But anyway, in hindsight, we're looking back at emails that we were sending back to the end of last year where they were just being non-committal about future plans and all that kind of thing. They're being evasive. And obviously it's something that's affected lots more people than us, but we're not going to speak for them.
No, we can only give our own perspective, can't we?
Exactly.
Yeah, we had a very healthy number of listeners, long-standing sponsors, episodes in the tens of thousands of downloads.
Yeah, even some up in close to six figures. So yeah, we were doing okay, is what we're saying. And now we don't have a studio to record in. There's no infrastructure, so like no contacts for interviews and that sort of thing. What else?
No sponsors, no social media.
Yeah, and actually the social media, it is a big deal because that is how we communicate with listeners, with fans, and it's gone, every platform. And yeah, as far as we're aware, we're not permitted to take the podcast anywhere else either, which brings us to the New Recommender.
Yeah, so we're starting from scratch by ourselves, and that's because we believe in this podcast. We've been doing it for 5 odd years. We love it. We love our listeners.
Yeah, we feel like we owe it to you to keep going. In other news, there's been a big change for you, Geoff, hasn't there?
Yeah. No, I'm back up north now in the homeland, in God's country. Obviously we're recording this one remotely, and future episodes will probably be done remotely as well. So there might be a slight change in the dynamic.
Yeah, if it sounds like we're out of practice,
it's because we are.
It's because we are. Yeah, we put this together quickly due to all that stuff coming out about Starum Audio. And we appreciate the quality isn't great. I can hear my mic popping as I speak, in fact. But we will improve that stuff for future episodes. And a couple more things regarding the old episodes. Loads of inquiries about this. They're no longer findable on podcast apps yet. We are aware of that. But we're fairly certain we have a complete catalogue of the 253 episodes. They're probably going to be MP3s, which is not ideal, but the plan is that people will be able to listen to them, all of them, again. But just bear with us, and we will have an update on that next week. That's the plan.
Also, loads of comments about the format, especially after we announced the name, the New Recommender. Will it be like the old show? Well, we hope so.
There might be legal issues around that.
Yeah.
And we got Geoff's lawyer looking into it.
I've got my top guy on the case.
Yeah. And as soon as he knows, we'll know, and then you'll know. And it may be that we have to tweak certain things from our previous format, or it might have to be entirely its own thing. We don't know. But we hope, you'll follow us along on this journey.
Absolutely. So if fans of the old show, let them know that we're back. Get new listeners in, basically spread the word.
That's all for this week. Wouldn't really call it an episode, an update, I suppose. It's a prelude.
It's an entree.
To what we hope is going to be chapter 2.
Yeah.
I've been Ioan.
I've been Geoff.
And this has been the New Recommender. Welcome to the New Recommender, the official continuation of the Recommender podcast, hosted by me, Ioan Morris.
And me, Geoff Roberts.
First of all, we want to say thank you so much for your feedback and your comments on last week's episode. A lot of you saying it was like we'd never been away. That's music to our ears. And speaking of music, a lot of you loved the fact that we had brought back the theme. That's a piece of music that I have exclusive rights to, and there was no way we weren't going to use that.
I know when I heard it, there was a smile across my face.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people have said no problems with the audio quality at all, and that is all the work of Dave PA, who has been hired to do the sound editing. He's a pro, he knows exactly what he's doing, and especially knowing what we gave him, he's worked magic.
He's overqualified, let's be honest, and he's sure not cheap.
No, he's not, but I'm happy to pay him that, and to me, it's worthwhile. So, a few bits of news and a few updates. Firstly, we're still in legal limbo with regards to Starum Audio. But, Geoff, you had an update from your lawyer this week, didn't you?
I did, yes. I've been emailing John Haining, and we're trying to gauge where we're at with Starum Audio going under, where we're at with the format, and so on. And here's what he's replied with. He says, "Hi, Geoff. All good here, thanks. I haven't heard anything yet, but given the circumstances, this is to be expected. I will follow up this afternoon and get back to you."
Is that everything?
He does also go on to say, "Unfortunately, we won't be able to make the party on the August bank holiday weekend, but let's catch up soon. Regards, John." But that's just about a party that my wife's organising. So,
well, that'll be nice. Secondly, I've started a new production company. It's called High Quality Content. And from now on, the New Recommender will be a high quality content production. It's not going to make any difference to you as a listener, except that you'll see the little logo on the podcast graphic. I'm quite pleased with it, to be honest. It's like a pyramid if you look at it one way, and then if you look at it slightly differently, it's like an upside down pyramid.
oh yeah.
And like I say, it's not going to make a difference to you as a listener, but for us, if we go into a professional situation with sponsors and so on, we want to do it under the name of a company rather than as individuals. Right. Next up is the big piece of news. We're really excited about this. We said we'd have an update about our old episodes, and we do. Geoff?
Yes, we are very excited to be launching the old Recommender. Starting tomorrow, we're going to be uploading one episode per day, chronologically. 6 days every week, apart from on Wednesdays when the new Recommender goes out. It's going to have its own feed, so make sure to subscribe to the old Recommender wherever you guys get your podcasts.
Should take, we think, about 10 months in total to upload those 253 episodes, but get on it and you'll get to hear how we developed over the years. And we don't normally bring personal stuff into this, but I'd like to publicly wish Geoff luck with his new job that he's starting this week.
Thank you.
I mean, I wish it was the case that you didn't have to take it and, you were able to fully commit to the podcast. But, that's where we are at the moment, and you've got to put food on the table. So, I completely understand. But it's something to do with marketing. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, digital marketing. It's a consultancy that works with companies, gives them recommendations, strategies, that sort of thing. So, yeah, starting very soon. Fingers crossed it goes well.
Yeah, great. Okay, so everyone, please rate and review, like and subscribe. This stuff all helps so much. And that's it for this week. I've been Ioan.
I've been Geoff.
And this has been the New Recommender. The New Recommender is a high-quality content production, executive produced by Ioan Morris and Geoff Roberts. Sound editing by Dave PA. Our theme is 2-for-1 Cocktails by Ramen Shackle. Welcome to the New Recommender, the official continuation of the Recommender podcast, hosted by me, Ioan Morris.
And me, Geoff Roberts.
Yeah, so as most of you will know, it hasn't been a good week. The old Recommender, the big thing we hyped up last week, is no more, and it didn't even make it through the weekend. We got what we thought was an automated copyright strike. We tried to appeal it, but then we both got a cease and desist order. This was from Clowes, Carver and Co. And they are solicitors who are acting as what's called insolvency practitioners for Starham Audio. So that's that. We had to pull everything. And we're just really sorry. I certainly feel quite silly about the whole situation. But I'm sure you can understand we just can't have the threat of legal action hanging over our heads.
In better news, next week we do have an interview lined up. We're not going to reveal quite yet who it is, but we are very excited about it. We think it's going to have some of that old show feel. So that's something to look forward to. And once again, we apologise for the situation with the old recommender. When it comes to those episodes, we know that our fans you're a generous and sharing community. So, do your thing. And probably don't need to make it any clearer than that. Anything else?
No, I don't think so. Job going all right?
Yeah, all good so far.
Okay, that's it. The New Recommender is a high-quality content production, executive produced by Ioan Morris and Geoff Roberts. Sound editing by Dave PA. Our theme is 2-for-1 Cocktails by Ramen Shackle. Welcome to the New Recommender, the completely unofficial continuation of the Recommender podcast, hosted by me, Ioan Morris.
And me, Geoff Roberts. Just to let you know, before we get started, I'm recording my end in work. I'm on my lunch break. I'm on my phone, to be honest, so apologies for any poor sound quality. Now, as you've seen from the episode title, this week we are delighted to say that we've got an interview with my lawyer, John Haining, who is now our lawyer, the legal representative of the podcast. He was kind enough to meet with Ioan and answer as many questions as he could about our ongoing situation with Starham Audio and everything else surrounding the show. So, without further ado, here's the interview.
Actually, Geoff, a bit of bad news about that. I did meet with John and it was a great chat, but unfortunately there was an issue with the recording in that it didn't record, but thankfully it's all pretty fresh in my mind.
So, what do you want to do?
I thought I'd just tell you what happened.
Okay.
So regarding how long it would take for the situation with Starham Audio to be resolved, John said it could be a matter of weeks.
Fantastic.
Yeah, or it could be a couple of years.
Ah.
And then about whether or not we could use the format of the old show for the new show, he said the beauty of the format is that it's universal. He might even have said derivative, which is great to hear, obviously. But he didn't feel like there would be any issues on that front.
Wow, okay. Yeah, that's brilliant news.
He did suggest we change either our name or description to avoid seeming like this is a project that's been approved by Starham Audio, which is obviously not the case.
Ah, okay. So that's why you changed the intro.
Exactly. We're now completely unofficial. And if that's enough of a distinction that we can continue the podcast without worrying about the legal stuff, then it's a no-brainer. Finally, I asked him about my belongings that are still in Starham Audio studio and how I haven't been able to contact anyone and the gates are always closed when I go past. He said, if it's equipment I need for work, then I should be able to get it back. So I said, the main thing is my jacket and it's my favourite jacket. He doesn't think he can justify describing it as a professional necessity. That's the phrase he used. But he is going to investigate further.
That's got to be a relief for you.
Yeah, huge relief. And that was it, as far as I remember. And at the end, he said, he'll see you at your bank holiday party in August.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he changed his plans, so he's coming now. Anyway, great job with the interview.
Thank you. Yeah, obviously, it would have been great to have you involved. But
yeah. Anyway, lots of insights there, though.
Absolutely. Maybe not exactly the insights we were hoping for, but I think we do now have a better idea of where we stand.
Yeah. Looking ahead then, obviously we can't upload the old show or any clips from it. They've put a stop to that. But what they can't stop us doing is talking about the old show. So for the next 2 weeks, Ioan and I are going to be sharing our individual top 5 lists from across the 5-year run of the Recommender. We think it's going to be a fun couple of episodes.
Definitely. So once again, please rate and review, like and subscribe, and we'll be back next week for the first of the top 5 shows. I've been Ioan.
I've been Geoff.
And this has been The New Recommender. The New Recommender is a high-quality content production, executive produced by Ioan Morris and Geoff Roberts. Sound editing by Dave PA. Our theme is 2-for-1 Cocktails by Ramen Shackle. Welcome to The New Recommender, the completely unofficial continuation of the Recommender podcast, hosted by me, Ioan Morris.
And me, Geoff Roberts.
We've got such a great episode coming up today. Geoff's given us his top 5 recommendations from the entire history of the podcast. I haven't been told what any of these are in advance, so I can't wait to hear your choices, Geoff.
Thank you very much, Ioan. Before I get started, let me say that these are in the order that they appeared on the podcast. It's not a countdown. Okay, so choice number 1. It comes from episode 57 with TV and tennis legend Sue Barker. And her choice was the Dartmouth Steam Railway in Devon, a heritage railway that runs between Sue's hometown of Paignton and Kingswear. First of all, what a treat it was to get Sue on the show. Our first big celebrity. She was such a laugh, up for anything, and we're hoping that she'll return one day in the near future. Since that episode, both Ioan and I spent some time on the English Riviera, and we both agreed that Dartmouth Steam Railway is one of the United Kingdom's great tourist attractions. Number 2 comes from episode 94 with actor Natalie Cassidy, best known, of course, for playing Sonia on EastEnders. She recommended the city of Barcelona, and this was the first time anyone had chosen an entire city, which made it a notable episode for that reason alone. At the time, I hadn't visited the city, but I've since been there 3 times, and wow, what a place, a hidden gem. Number 3 comes from episode 141. We had baker extraordinaire Richard Taint on the show. His choice was the InScale IWS 30, a waterproof stainless steel electronic scale for use in professional kitchens. The way he talked about his passion for accuracy and consistency, it inspired me to start baking and cooking more. My colleagues can tell you all about my tray bakes, and it's something that's become a real passion in my life. Number 4 comes from episode 168, TV presenter and gardener Monty Don and the Pressiver heavy-duty gel cushion and foam padding knee pads. For those who follow me on Instagram, you'll know the pride I take in my garden. And Monty, well, he's a bit of a hero of mine, to say the least. So as soon as he recommended these knee pads, I went out and bought some for myself. And I must say, they have made the last couple of years of planting and potting and weeding an absolute breeze. And finally, number 5 comes from episode 190 when we had folk musician Danny Clements in. Now, Danny, as I think we all remember, chose to recommend Tales from the Ages, his new album that had just come out. Bless him, he didn't quite understand the point of the podcast. And at the time, there was a lot of backlash to this episode because, as we've always maintained, it's not about self-promotion. However, despite the controversy, I loved the album. And one of the songs on there, Twain Entwined, ended up being me and my wife's first dance at our wedding. So, of course, this had to be one of my choices for many reasons, but especially for what the music now means to me. And I know I said this wasn't a countdown, but as it happens, if I did have to pick just one, well, this would be it. And that's it. That's my top 5.
Oh, there we go. I wasn't expecting to be done so quickly, but some lovely choices there. Short and sweet.
Yeah, well, that's partly because I'm recording from work again. I've only got so long on my lunch break.
I just knew you were going to pick that Sue Barker episode. I knew it. So I'll have to tweak my picks and we'll be back next week with those. But for now, I've been Ioan.
I've been Geoff.
And this has been The New Recommender. The New Recommender is a high-quality content production, executive produced by Ioan Morris and Geoff Roberts. Sound editing by Dave PA. Our theme is 2-for-1 Cocktails by Ramen Shackle. Welcome to the New Recommender, the completely unofficial continuation of the Recommender podcast, hosted by me, Ioan Morris.
And me, Geoff Roberts.
This week, I'm going to give you my top 5 recommendations from the entire history of the podcast. But before I get started, I want to say something to a particular listener. This is directed specifically at someone who calls himself Vertical Hijack, who is a troll who's been targeting Geoff this week. They've been saying, Geoff doesn't care, he's not making any effort, he shouldn't be phoning in from work on his lunch break, his mic at home is rubbish, that kind of stuff. Listen to this, mate. If you come for one of us, you come for both of us, right? Don't listen to the podcast anymore. We don't want you as a listener. A man's got to make money, and if anything, doing the recording during his lunch break should tell you that Geoff's willing to give up his personal time for the sake of the podcast. And the mic doesn't make a blind bit of difference to the overall quality. It has nothing whatsoever to do with how much he cares.
Thank you, Ioan. But I do want to apologise for the situation with my end of the audio. I'm just waiting on that first paycheck from the new job, and then it's all going to be sorted.
Okay, there we go. But still, the issue is the trolling, and it's unacceptable.
Anyway, let's crack on. I really like what you told me about your plan for today. To be honest, I feel like my contribution last week was a little bit lacking.
No, I don't think so. You know, maybe I should have gone first to establish the template, but yours was straight to the point. But to explain to our listeners what's going to be happening, what I'm going to do is give my side of the story, then Geoff and I are going to recreate some highlights of that particular episode using transcripts. And I checked this with John Haining in the week and he says it's fine, it's fair use. So I'll be reading the part of the guest in each instance, and Geoff will be representing both himself and me. And Geoff, you said you had an idea of how to make that distinction clear?
I do, yeah.
Great, then I'll crack on. Number 1 comes from episode 83, featuring English soccer star Michael Owen, who was just a brilliant guest, and his choice was the Augusta A109S Grand helicopter. We said it at the time, but I don't think we've ever had a guest who's been more excited about their recommendation. In fact, Michael approached us about appearing, and obviously we were thrilled to have him on board, pun intended. So here is an extract from that episode.
So, am I right in thinking this is a new passion for you?
The last 12 to 18 months, really. But when I get into something, I do it to the full. Same as I did with horse racing. With helicopters, I was looking into all the different types. Big ones, small ones, all the variations of helicopter you can imagine. But in the end, I went with something in the middle.
And what is it you love about being up in a helicopter?
To be honest, I've never been the tallest guy. So I think in some ways, this is how I get a sense of what it would be like to be tall. And not just like 6'5" or 7 feet or even 8 feet, but to be the tallest man in the world.
Well, I'd say that's a really interesting perspective. I haven't considered that. Thanks, Michael.
Wait a minute, Geoff. What's that with the voice?
It's a Welsh accent.
That's not what I sound like.
I'm not very good with accents, sorry.
Then I think you should just drop it from the rest of the choices.
You sure? I don't think it's going to be clear to listeners who's supposed to be speaking.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. But maybe tone it down if you can.
Okay.
Number 2 comes from episode 155, featuring award-winning Welsh sculptor Ryddion Rhys, and his choice was the original Joyce Chen Unlimited scissors. This is one of those choices that blew my mind when I heard about it. You think, okay, scissors, I get it, but then someone opens your eyes to this technological leap forward that you hadn't considered possible, and yeah, the world just looks a little bit different afterwards. So here's an extract from that episode.
Well, that's a fascinating choice. Can you tell me a bit more about it?
I've had these a number of years at this point, and they've changed the way I work completely. Basically, they're scissors that will cut through anything. Plastic, rubber, even some metal.
Wow, they cut through metal?
They cut through sheet metal, yes, and that's been my primary sculpting material for a number of years. Previously, I've had to use special shears or power tools, but these are just like normal scissors.
Oh, well, that's extraordinary. I can't quite believe what you're saying.
Hang on, Geoff. You know what? That's not working, so let's just drop that stuff altogether.
If it's the accent, I could just read the name of whoever's speaking before I say anything, and I'll just do my normal voice.
No, let's just leave it. Didn't work. Lesson learned. I'll just get through the rest of these now. Number 3, episode 182, singer Mel C, Martin D28 guitar. Number 4, episode 209, actor Shane Ritchie, Elia, an authentic Greek and Mediterranean restaurant in Woking. Number 5, episode 226, TV presenter Kevin MacLeod, Barbara Hepworth Museum and Sculpture Garden in St Ives.
Do you have your favourite out of the 5?
3.
You do like a bit of guitar strumming, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, next week, listener choices. That's right. We want you, our fans, to get in touch and tell us your favourites. Did they inspire you? Make you laugh? Make you think? Let us know what those episodes mean to you. You can record an audio clip if you'd like, and we'll play that on the podcast. Or you can write it down and we'll read what you've written. It's going to be a good one, I think. Anyway, I've been Geoff. And this has been the New Recommender.
The New Recommender is a high-quality content production, executive produced by Ioan Morris and Geoff Roberts. Sound editing by Dave PA. Our theme is 2 for 1 Cocktails by Ramen Shackle.